Imagine this. It's nearly midnight. You're sitting alone in your living room. Outside, rain taps gently against the windows. Then, knock. A soft, almost polite knock at your front door. You weren't expecting anyone. Curious, you peek through the peephole. Standing on your porch are two children, a boy and a girl. Both look around 10 or 11 years old. They're dressed in ordinary clothes, nothing unusual, until one of them slowly raises its head, and you realize their eyes are completely black. No white, no iris, just endless darkness. Then the boy speaks in a calm, emotionless voice. "Please, let us in." Most people would slam the door, but according to dozens of eyewitnesses across America, some didn't, and many of them say their lives were never the same again. Tonight, we're diving into one of the most unsettling urban legends in modern American folklore, the mystery of the black-eyed children. And by the end of this story, you may think twice before answering a knock after dark. Unlike many ghost stories passed down for centuries, the legend of the black-eyed children is surprisingly modern. Most researchers trace the phenomenon back to the late 1990s. The story exploded after a Texas journalist named Brian Bethel shared a terrifying encounter he claimed happened in Abilene, Texas. According to Bethel, it was a warm evening. He had stopped his car outside a movie theater to write a check under a parking lot light. Suddenly, two boys approached his driver's side window. They looked to be around 12 or 13 years old. Nothing about them seemed threatening. At first, one of the boys politely explained they had forgotten their money for a movie and asked if Bethel could drive them home so they could get it. It sounded reasonable, but something felt wrong. The journalist later described an overwhelming sense of fear, a primal instinct screaming, "Do not let them inside your car." As the conversation continued, the boys became strangely persistent. "We can't come in unless you let us. It won't take long. We just need a ride." Bethel glanced up, and for the first time, he saw their eyes. Solid black, no pupils, no whites, just darkness. Frozen with fear, he started the car and sped away. When he looked back, the boys had vanished. He would later publish the story online. Within months, people from across the United States began contacting him, not to call him crazy, but to say, "The same thing happened to me." As more reports surfaced, researchers noticed something disturbing. The stories were almost identical. The children usually appeared at night, often during rainstorms, or in isolated parking lots, sometimes outside rural homes, other times outside parked vehicles. They almost always arrived in pairs, occasionally three. They looked ordinary, pale skin, simple clothing, expressionless faces, but there was always something unnatural. Witnesses often described feeling intense dread before even noticing the children's eyes, a deep instinctive terror, as though every survival instinct in their body was warning them, something isn't human. The children never forced entry. Instead, they asked, politely, "Can we come inside? Please let us in. We need to use your phone. We're lost. Our parents are waiting." Their stories changed, but one rule never did. They always needed permission, and according to many witnesses, they became more aggressive when refused. Not violent, just persistent, repeating the same request over and over. "Let us in." Some witnesses claimed the children's voices sounded strangely flat, almost robotic. Others said they spoke like adults pretending to be children. Several reported that the children never blinked. Not once. The most terrifying detail is, of course, the eyes. Witnesses consistently described them as completely black, not just dark-colored, entirely black, as if someone had filled the entire eye with ink. No whites, no pupils, no reflection, just an empty darkness. Some skeptics believe these reports may have been inspired by special effect contact lenses, but here's the unsettling part. Many of the earliest encounters were reported before black sclera contact lenses became widely available. Could memory be exaggerating? Possibly. Could fear distort perception? Psychologists say yes. But then, why do so many stories describe the exact same feature without the witnesses knowing each other? Coincidence? Mass suggestion? Or something else? No one knows, and that's what keeps this legend alive. What makes the black-eyed children legend so disturbing isn't the way they appear. It's the stories about the people who say they actually let them in. Now, it's important to say this clearly. There is no verified evidence that black-eyed children exist. The accounts you're about to hear come from personal testimonies, online reports, and modern folklore, not confirmed events. But whether they're supernatural encounters, misidentified people, or elaborate hoaxes, some of these stories are chilling enough to have kept the legend alive for nearly 3 decades. One of the most frequently shared stories dates back to the early 2000s. A woman living in rural Vermont claimed she heard 3 slow knocks at her front door just after 1 o'clock in the morning. Her husband was asleep upstairs. Outside, a snowstorm was beginning. She wasn't expecting visitors. Still, she walked to the front door. Standing beneath the porch light were 2 children, a boy and a younger girl. Neither wore winter coats, neither seemed bothered by the freezing temperature. The woman later wrote that something immediately felt wrong. The children kept their heads lowered. The older boy finally spoke. "Our parents will be here soon. May we come inside and wait?" The woman hesitated. Then she noticed. Neither child looked cold. There was no shivering, no visible breath in the icy air. She asked where their parents were. The boy ignored the question. Instead, he repeated the exact same sentence. "May we come inside?" The woman later admitted she almost unlocked the door, not because she trusted them, but because she suddenly felt an overwhelming urge to help, almost as if someone else was making the decision for her. Then, the girl slowly lifted her head. Her eyes were completely black. The woman slammed the deadbolt shut. Seconds later, the children simply turned around, walked into the darkness, and disappeared into the falling snow. When police searched the area the next morning, no footprints were ever reported. Whether that's true or not, no official police report has ever been confirmed. But the story spread rapidly online, becoming one of the defining encounters of the legend. Another account comes from an anonymous couple who claimed they were watching television late one evening. Around 10:30, someone knocked. When they looked through the window, 2 children stood on the porch. The older child calmly explained, "Our car broke down. We need to use your phone." At first, nothing seemed unusual, until the wife whispered, "Don't open the door." She couldn't explain why. She simply felt terrified. The husband cracked the door only a few inches. That's when both children looked up, black eyes, completely black. The boy smiled. "You don't have to be afraid. Just let us in." The husband immediately slammed the door. According to the story, the knocking continued for nearly 15 minutes. Slow, steady, never louder, never angry, just patient. Eventually, the knocking stopped. When the couple looked outside, no one was there. The next morning, nothing appeared unusual. No footprints, no tire tracks, no evidence that anyone had ever visited. Could someone have been playing a prank? Of course, but what frightened the couple most wasn't what they saw. It was how strongly they felt compelled to unlock the door. Among all black-eyed children's stories, one stands apart, because unlike most witnesses, this man claimed he actually invited them inside. According to his online testimony, he was living alone in the American Midwest. One rainy evening, 2 children appeared at his door asking to come in while they waited for their parents. Despite feeling uneasy, he agreed. The children quietly entered the house. Neither thanked him, neither looked around. They simply stood silently in his living room. Minutes passed, no conversation, no movement. Then, the telephone rang. It was his neighbor. The neighbor sounded panicked. "Who are those kids?" Confused, the man looked toward the window. His neighbor was watching from across the street. Before he could answer, the lights inside his house flickered. Every electronic device suddenly shut off. Television, clock, radio, everything. When power returned a few seconds later, the children were gone. The front door remained locked from the inside. No windows had been opened. No footprints were found outside despite the muddy ground. Years later, the man reportedly developed serious health problems. He believed the encounter had something to do with it. There is absolutely no evidence connecting those events. But stories like this fuel the mythology. Because once fear finds a pattern, it begins connecting unrelated events. And suddenly, every coincidence feels like proof. One detail appears in almost every encounter. The children never force their way inside. They always ask, over and over again, "May we come in?" Why? Researchers have offered several theories. Some believe the legend borrows from old vampire folklore. In many European myths, a vampire cannot enter a home unless invited. Permission creates vulnerability. Others think the stories reflect something deeply psychological. Your home represents safety. Allowing a stranger inside, especially at night, means surrendering control. The black-eyed children may simply symbolize that fear. The fear of trusting the wrong person. The fear that evil doesn't always arrive looking monstrous. Sometimes, it looks like a child asking for help. And that's exactly why the legend works so well. It forces people to question, would I open the door, or would I ignore someone who genuinely needed help? That moral dilemma is where the real horror begins. By now, you might be asking yourself one question. If thousands of people claim to have seen the black-eyed children, why has no one ever captured undeniable proof? No verified surveillance footage, no authenticated photographs, no confirmed police investigations. Despite decades of stories, the evidence remains frustratingly elusive. So, what are people actually experiencing? Let's explore the theories. Fear is remarkably powerful. It can sharpen your senses or completely distort them. Psychologists have long studied how the human brain behaves under stress. When we're alone, especially at night, our minds become hyper-alert. Every unfamiliar sound, every unexpected visitor, every shadow can seem far more threatening than it really is. Then there's something called expectation bias. Once you've heard a terrifying story, your brain starts searching for signs that confirm it. Imagine hearing a strange knock at midnight. You remember the legend, your heart begins racing, your pupils dilate, adrenaline floods your body. Suddenly, a perfectly ordinary child standing outside your house might not seem so ordinary anymore. Researchers call this pattern recognition. The human brain evolved to recognize danger quickly. Sometimes, it recognizes danger, even when there isn't any. That doesn't mean witnesses are lying. Far from it. Many genuinely believe they experienced something impossible. Memory itself isn't like a video recording. Every time we recall an event, our brain quietly rewrites parts of it. Small details change, emotions become stronger, certain images become sharper. Over time, the memory can become more frightening than the original experience. Before the late 1990s, almost nobody had heard of black-eyed children. Then, everything changed. When Bethel shared his story online, thousands of people read it. Forums exploded with discussion. Paranormal websites began collecting similar accounts. Soon, YouTube channels, podcasts, books, television documentaries, and social media spread the legend across the world. Some researchers believe this created what's known as a modern folklore phenomenon. Unlike ancient legends passed down through generations, the internet allows stories to travel instantly. One terrifying account inspires another. People begin comparing memories. Details slowly become standardized. Children, nighttime, polite voices, permission, black eyes. Eventually, the legend develops its own rules, almost like a living organism, growing stronger every time it's retold. But here's what's fascinating. Even today, new eyewitness reports continue appearing online. Many come from people who claim they had never heard of the legend before their encounter. Is that true? It's impossible to know, but it's one reason the mystery refuses to disappear. Of course, not everyone believes psychology explains everything. Within paranormal communities, theories are far more unsettling. Some believe the children are demons, entities that cannot enter a home without permission. This idea closely resembles ancient vampire folklore, where supernatural beings require an invitation before crossing a threshold. Others believe they're ghosts, children trapped between life and death, searching endlessly for someone willing to let them inside. Then there are theories involving extraterrestrials. According to this idea, the children aren't human at all. They're biological disguises, artificial beings attempting to imitate human behavior. That would explain why witnesses often describe their speech as almost human, but not quite. Some UFO researchers even point to similarities between black-eyed children and reports of the so-called men in black. Both are described as strangely emotionless. Both behave unnaturally. Both leave witnesses with overwhelming fear. Others go even further, suggesting they're beings from another dimension, creatures capable of appearing briefly before disappearing without a trace. Again, there is absolutely no scientific evidence supporting any of these claims. But when evidence is absent, imagination often fills the gaps, and sometimes, imagination creates stories more frightening than reality itself. One reason the black-eyed children continue to fascinate researchers is how remarkably similar many accounts appear. Across different states, different decades, and different witnesses, the descriptions rarely change. The children usually arrive at night. They're calm, soft-spoken, unnaturally polite. They ask for permission. They avoid forcing entry. Witnesses report overwhelming dread. Then, the black eyes. Could people simply be repeating details they've already heard online? Absolutely. But some reports contain unusual similarities that are difficult to ignore. Several witnesses describe feeling almost hypnotized, as though they were about to unlock the door against their own better judgment. Others claim electronic devices malfunctioned shortly after the encounter. Lights flickered, phones stopped working, car batteries mysteriously died. Scientists would argue, coincidences happen every day. The human brain naturally connects unrelated events. That's how myths grow. Yet, when enough people describe the same pattern, curiosity inevitably follows. So, what do we actually know? Here's what can be verified. Brian Bethel really did publish an account describing his experience in Texas during the late 1990s. That story helped launch the modern black-eyed children legend. Since then, hundreds, perhaps thousands, of similar stories have appeared online. However, none have been independently verified. No physical evidence has ever confirmed the existence of black-eyed children. No credible scientific investigation has concluded they're real. Every known case relies on personal testimony, and personal testimony, no matter how sincere, cannot prove a supernatural claim. Does that mean every witness fabricated their experience? Not necessarily. Some may have misidentified ordinary people. Some may have experienced vivid memories shaped by fear. Others may have genuinely encountered something they couldn't explain. The truth remains unknown. And sometimes, the unknown is the most terrifying answer of all. We've explored the stories. We've looked at the psychology. We've examined the paranormal theories. But one question still remains. Why does this legend continue to terrify people almost 30 years after it first appeared? The answer may have less to do with monsters and more to do with ourselves. Think about the monsters from old horror movies. They hide in abandoned castles, dark forests, haunted cemeteries, places most of us rarely visit. But the black-eyed children don't live there. According to the stories, they come to your house, your front porch, your driveway, your car, places that are supposed to feel safe. That changes everything, because this legend doesn't ask, what if monsters exist? It asks, what if they arrive looking like someone who needs help? A child, cold, lost, scared. Everything in our nature tells us to protect children, to help them, to open the door. And that's exactly why the legend is so psychologically effective. It turns one of humanity's strongest instincts, compassion, into fear. Even today, new reports continue to appear across internet forums, podcasts, and paranormal websites. Some describe children knocking late at night. Others claim they encountered them at gas stations, bus stops, or empty parking lots. The details vary, but certain elements remain remarkably consistent. The emotionless voices, the strange politeness, the overwhelming feeling of dread, and the eyes, completely black. Most investigators remain skeptical. Without physical evidence, these stories cannot be verified. Some are almost certainly fictional. Others may be honest misunderstandings, but a few remain strangely difficult to explain. Not because they're proof, but because the witnesses seem genuinely convinced that something impossible happened. And perhaps that's why the legend refuses to die. For centuries, urban legends spread around campfires, through family stories, or whispered conversations between friends. Today, one post can reach millions of people overnight. One podcast, one YouTube video, one Reddit thread, one viral TikTok. The Black-Eyed Children may be one of the first truly internet-born horror legends, a story that evolved in real time, growing with every retelling, every eyewitness claim, every debate, every skeptical investigation. It's a perfect example of how modern folklore works. No single person controls it. Everyone adds something, a new detail, a new encounter, a new theory, until the story becomes larger than its original source. Let's imagine something. It's 11:47 p.m. You're home alone. A storm is rolling in. Your phone buzzes. Then, the lights flicker. A few seconds later, someone knocks. Not loudly, just 3 slow knocks. You look through the peephole. 2 children stand silently beneath the porch light. They're soaked from the rain. One quietly says, "Our parents are coming. May we wait inside? Would you help them? Or would you remember this story and keep the door locked?" There isn't an easy answer, because in real life, ignoring children who truly need help could have terrible consequences. But trusting the wrong stranger can also be dangerous. The Black-Eyed Children legend forces us into an impossible choice. And maybe that's the real horror. After decades of investigation, there is still no credible evidence that Black-Eyed Children are real. No verified photographs, no confirmed videos, no scientific explanation pointing toward anything supernatural. From a factual standpoint, the safest conclusion is that the Black-Eyed Children are a modern urban legend, strengthened by storytelling, internet culture, eyewitness testimony, and the powerful influence of fear. But legends don't survive because they're proven. They survive because they tap into something deeply human. Our fear of the unknown, our instinct to protect our homes, our hesitation between kindness and caution. Every generation creates its own monsters. For our grandparents, it was vampires. For our parents, it was aliens. For the internet generation, perhaps it's the Black-Eyed Children. So, what do you think? Are the Black-Eyed Children nothing more than a viral urban legend, a psychological phenomenon? Or could there be something behind these stories that we've yet to understand? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring the world's darkest mysteries, haunted places, and unexplained legends, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because next time, we might uncover a story that's even harder to explain. Until then, if someone knocks on your door tonight, you may want to look through the peephole before you decide to let them in.